All right, welcome back to the First and Gold podcast. I'm your host, Sam Gold, and today we have another episode for you. It's the Friday before the Week 2 NFL weekend, so you know what that means. We got to do some preview and predictions. Really quickly, though, we forgot to preview the Thursday Night Football game on our last episode, which was Dolphins-Bills. So, you know, I got to represent a man who went through a very unfortunate night last night. Let's talk about it. Dolphins-Bills. The Dolphins hosted them, but fell to them 31-10. It was a rough one all around for the Dolphins. Let's get to the elephant in the room, though. The man himself, Tua Tagovailoa. Unfortunately, another crucial concussion hit to the head. I don't really advise anybody who didn't watch the game to go watch it, but if you want to, it was very similar to what happened 2 years ago. It happened twice 2 years ago, where he just, he was on the run, or actually 2 years ago, he got sacked and his head slammed to the ground. This time, though, he was taken off for a scramble up the middle, and instead of sliding, he just leans his head into Damar Hamlin's chest, of all people. But yeah, after that, he just lays right on the ground. His fingers were all over the place, very similar to how it was a couple years ago, where it just looked like he lost consciousness once again. Just a terrible, terrible sight to see. And yeah, now we sit here the day after. It just everything feels grim, not only for the Dolphins, but just kind of for the NFL. It's a bad look once again to see these awful head injuries. I mean, first and foremost, I hope Tua gets better. He's one of my favorite players. There's a reason why I have his jersey. I like the Dolphins. I love Tua. I think he's a great guy. I was excited when the Dolphins drafted him. I just love the uniform. So, there's a lot of reasons why I got his jersey. And yeah, it sucks to see. It was nice to see him bounce back last year, fully healthy. But, this has happened just too many times where, a lot of people now, I'm not saying on the Dolphins side, but, a lot of people around the league, analysts, fans, even Antonio Pierce, the Raiders head coach, just said today, he's like, if I were talking to him, I'd just tell him straight up to retire. So it's a really, really tough situation. I agree with Antonio Pierce. As much as it pains me, health is, at this point, especially when it's a head injury, is just so much more important than football. I mean, look, Tua had a great college career. He was able to put in 4+ seasons of the NFL. He's had some fun moments. He's a great guy. He just got paid, which is the crazy part. I mean, I don't know how that's going to work if he does end up retiring for the Dolphins, over $40 million a year. It's just a crazy situation. So, I hope he just chooses whatever's best. If I were him personally, I don't mean to speak for him, but just, it's my podcast. It's just my opinion. I think he should just hang it up at this point. It's just not important. You see one of your players like that, no matter who it is, no matter how much he's getting paid, any NFL player, if he's taking that many hits to the head, you just gotta, at some point, you gotta weigh whether it's important to keep on going. I mean, this guy has a family, so even if you don't have a family, it doesn't matter. Antonio Brown, you see what happens to these players that get hit in the head too many times, or just even one bad blow to the head. It screws you up for a long time. So I don't know. Tua looked really out of it when he was walking back along the sideline and then into the tunnel. It was just a bad scene all around. The vibes were terrible in that game last night. So, look, I mean, as much as I'd love to see him play again, I just think, it's more important that he just focuses on his health. So, yeah, I mean, if I want to get into the actual game part, the Bills won. It's tough to do this after, talking about Tua. It sucks, but, just a quick recap of the game. The Bills won 31-10. James Cook had 3 touchdowns. That was an explosion. And if you go back and watch my fantasy award prediction episode, I had him as the MVP this year. So a good start for him. I think he had 28 fantasy points. But it's just nice to see, especially on that, they had the first and goal on the 1. They just straight up handed it to James Cook, which I feel like they haven't done a lot in the past. So that was a good sign to see him being utilized more. I think the Bills just look poised, comfortable, confident. And maybe this is just the way the Bills want to play these days, which is not have tons of pressure going into the season. I think they're just one of those teams where they let the pressure get to them. And now that everybody's kind of, signed them off a little bit, not a lot of people are believing in them, maybe they can just let loose finally and play like themselves. And it feels like a team with just so little chemistry, especially on offense, is looking great so far. So, A nice surprise from the Bills. They're a lot more likable this time around, I feel like. And yeah, I mean, guys like Khalil Shakir look good again. Their offensive line looks solid. Josh Allen not making too many turnovers, which is good. That's something he did a lot last season. So yeah, things are looking up for the Bills. Obviously, things are not for the Dolphins. We just went through that. So, overall, another one of those shitty Amazon Prime Thursday Night Football games where, once again, I'll say this again like last year, Al Michaels, please, just retire at this point. I mean, what are you doing? Your last good game you called, if you even want to call it a good game, was Bengals-Rams, the Super Bowl. So, I don't know. I'm sick of hearing him on Thursday Night Football. It's so boring, and the games are usually not good. So, all right, there you go. That was a little recap there for the Thursday night game. Let's head into our Week 2 predictions. All right, let's start at Sunday, 1 o'clock. This is going to be the best time, like usual, on Red Zone. We love the 1 o'clock slate. We're going to head to Minnesota for 49ers-Vikings as our first game to predict here. Man, I mean, as much as I enjoy when the Vikings are good, I think the league is just more fun when the Vikings are good. I'll say this once. I'll probably say it again later on in the season. Sam Darnold is always good in September, but I'm just not buying it. I don't think they're going to be this surprisingly great playoff team or whatever, Sure, Sam Darnold will have his moments, and I think he's definitely better than people expected. But going up against the 49ers, look, I'll say this every week. As long as the 49ers are healthy, and I know it's ironic because Christian McCaffrey's not, but Jordan Mason just proved in the Monday night game that he can fill in easily, especially against that Jets run defense. So, against, the 49ers against a worse defense than the Jets and the Vikings, and then their own defense going up against Sam Darnold, I think it's just a recipe to kind of let Vikings fans remember, okay, yeah, we did play the Giants in week 1. We're not as good as we think. So, unfortunately, as much as I'm rooting for the Vikings, but, it's a prediction episode. I got to go with who I really think is going to win. I'm going to go with the 49ers to win this game 30-16. All right, we have a Super Bowl 49 rematch. Patriots-Seahawks. Things are looking way different 10 years later. The Patriots are a completely forgettable team. The Seahawks have Geno Smith starting. But both teams 1-0. It's in New England. I like their defense, but I think that the Seahawks are just a very underrated team right now. People are sleeping on their offense. People are massively sleeping on their secondary. I love their secondary. I think they could have the potential to be a top 12 defense this year. I'm not kidding. Geno Smith versus Jacoby Brissett. It's kind of a boring quarterback matchup. I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring affair. I don't hate the Patriots as much as most people do. I think I had them winning like 4 or 5 games, though. But look, I don't think they're the worst team in the NFL. It's definitely the Panthers or Giants. So I think they'll keep it somewhat competitive with the Seahawks. But the Seahawks are the better team. I'm going to pick them to win in New England. Let's call it 20-13. One-score game. Somehow in week 2, we already have a doozy. It's Commanders-Giants. Not necessarily because I think the Commanders suck or anything. It's mostly because obviously the Giants suck. I don't think Daniel Jones is going to last past week 4 this year. I really don't. But if there's one game, surprisingly, if there's one game for him to perform pretty solid, it's against this Commanders defense. Now, I mean, what's worse, the Giants offense or the Commanders defense? I really don't know. I guess we'll find out. It's only week 2. But man, it's a tough matchup. That's what I'm going to be looking out for in this game. I like Jaden Daniels. I don't know if I like their offensive line against the Giants' defensive line. They always play each other close. Oh man, I could see this. They tied 2 years ago. I could see this being another tie. But in my full-on predictions, those are not the teams I chose to tie, so I won't pick a tie. Screw it. I'll pick this game to go into overtime, though. Why not? Let's have the Commanders winning on a game-winning field goal in overtime, 20-17. So there you go. All right, another game that I'm probably not super interested in watching. I know it's already week 2 and I'm saying that, but it's Panthers-Chargers. I think the Chargers are just going to absolutely dominate. And I don't even think the Chargers are as good as most people are making them out to be. But I said this last episode. I just think the Panthers could be the worst team we've ever watched. Ever. I'm not exaggerating. This is their home opener. I'm very curious to see how packed the stadium is because it's literally only week 2 and it's their home opener. I'm going to go out and say, because the Chargers don't have fans. So you're already wiping away tons of seats right there if anybody wants to travel. So it's basically going to be 95% Panthers fans, and I don't even think they want to go to the game. So this could be a 50% filled stadium already to start the season, which is just crazy. But I'm going to go with the Chargers. I think they're going to have a cakewalk. They don't even have to try that hard. They're just going to run all over the Panthers defense. Derek Brown, probably one of their only good players left on their defensive line, just in general on their team, is out for the season. So it's just a disaster. I'm going to go with the Chargers to win this game. 23. I'll go 27-10. I'm giving the Panthers 10 points. Another 10-point week. 2 weeks in a row. Congrats. That's like the Chiefs scoring 50. A rare Cowboys hosting a team at 1 o'clock against the Saints. That rarely happens, I feel like. Saints fans, look away. I know you guys had a thrill of a week last week against the Panthers. You scored 47 points. But I'm sorry, you guys aren't that good. I'm not buying it. You're playing the Cowboys this week. Their defense is very solid. It's their home opener. Dak has won their last 14 home games. I don't know why I said Dak. I should have just said the Cowboys, but I don't know. I'm just thinking about Dak in this game because I think he's going to have a field day. I think he's going to have 3 to 4 touchdown passes. And the Saints defense, although they're not bad, I think they're just going to realize, damn, we're not playing the Panthers every week. So it's going to be tough to go into the home opener for the Cowboys and win that game. So I'm going to go with the Cowboys winning it, beating the Saints 43-17. I think it's going to be a blowout. All right, Colts-Packers. Now, this would have been a better matchup, but of course, as we know, Jordan Love is not playing. It's going to be Malik Willis, which, kind of like the Dolphins with Skylar Thompson, I don't know how they're not trying to find a better backup. Malik Willis is genuinely one of the worst quarterbacks I've watched in a long time. So that's going to be interesting, especially since I think the Colts defense is undervalued. They're underrated. They got a good pass rush. I feel bad for those young weapons for the Packers offense because they're just going to be frustrated on Sunday. I really think they are. Jaden Reed, he had a great week 1. I just don't think he's going to be as good. So yeah, as much as I'm rooting for the Packers, of course, they were my Super Bowl pick. I got to go with the Colts. Anthony Richardson in his second start this year. I like him. I think Jonathan Taylor's going to have a field day, so I'm going to go with the Colts to win this game. I'm going to say 23-13. And then we head to Jacksonville for Browns-Jaguars. I feel like the Browns have just never played in Jacksonville. It's very random, even though they literally play there every 6 years at least. I really have no strong opinions on this game. I mean, Deshaun Watson has proved that he's completely washed last week. I think that Josh Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker are going to have a field day against this offensive line. Even though it's on paper a great offensive line, but they're really struggling against the pass, especially against the Cowboys last week. We'll see if they get better. But I think the Jags are pissed off. They want to bounce back after blowing it against the Dolphins last week. It's their home opener. I'm sorry, Browns fans. I don't think you guys suck, but you're going to lose this game. I'm picking the Jaguars to win it 24-20. All right, we got a few more 1 o'clock games. Let's head to Titans-Jets. In Tennessee. That's another random AFC matchup, I feel like. Can Aaron Rodgers go out and get his first win of the season? I'm going to say no. Al, put up the graphic. It's my upset alert of the week. I'm picking the Titans to win their home opener against the Jets. And you know what? I think that the Jets and Aaron Rodgers are going to blow a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter. That's how crazy I think it's going to be. I'm sorry. You guys can go ahead and win your home opener against the Patriots on Thursday Night Football. For some reason, it's just my gut instinct. I just feel like the Titans are one of those teams that love to play spoiler against these AFC opponents. And I know playing spoiler in week 2 isn't really a thing, but I'm calling it. I'm calling it right now. Upset alert. Will Levis is pissed off. He wants revenge. The Jets are still a little rusty getting their kinks out. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. I just feel it in my heart. I'm going to pick the Jets to lose. If they're going to blow a 10-point lead, let's say it's 24-14 going into the fourth quarter, and the Titans end up winning this game 28-24. So there you go. Al's giving me some looks behind the camera because he likes the Jets. I'm sorry, but look, sometimes there's a team out there like the Jets, like the Titans, that play these kinds of games, and I just feel it. So there you go. I'm sorry, Jets fans. Lions-Bucks in Detroit, a rematch of the divisional round. Kind of shocked this is a 1 o'clock game. I think this is probably one of the best matchups of the week. Now I'm getting similar thoughts to the Bucks as I did with the Saints. Like you're not going out there and playing the Commanders defense every week. Like Baker Mayfield, off to a great start, but he's not throwing 4 touchdowns every week. I'm sorry. but I do think they're better than the Saints in the fact that they will keep it competitive with the Lions, but it's really hard, especially now that the Lions came off of a great Sunday Night Football win. They're hosting another week. It's just going to be really tough for them. So I think they'll keep it competitive for the most part, but I think the Bucs I think the Lions are just a little bit more talented to come out with the win. I'm going to say 30-24. Actually, 31-24 Lions. And then our final 1 o'clock game, we're heading to Baltimore for Ravens-Raiders. Baltimore just needs a bounce back. They're pissed off. We all know what happened on the Thursday night opener in Kansas City. I just feel like this is a nice opponent for them to just toy around with. Now, I'm high on the Raiders this season. I'm slowly starting to regret my pick. We'll see what happens. And if there's one guy to get away from their great pass rush that the Raiders have in Christian Wilkins and Max Crosby, it's Lamar Jackson. So I think, they're at home finally. They feel a little more comfortable. They're pissed off. I think it's going to be a cruise to a W for the Ravens in this game. I'll pick them to win it. I'll go 34-14. I don't think it's going to be close. All right, we got 3 4 o'clock games here. Let's start with Cardinals hosting the Rams. Man, oh, God, this one's going to be close. I have no idea how this one's going to go. I don't know if the Cardinals are favored. They might be favored, and I wouldn't be surprised. I think the Rams without Puka Nacua right now, it's a little bit scary. The Cardinals offense looking good right now. I hope to God Marvin Harrison starts getting involved, not only for my fantasy team, but just in general. Stop wasting a guy you literally picked in the top 5. And then Kyler Murray goes out, and he's like, yeah, it's not my job to give him the ball. Yes, it is. You're the quarterback. I don't know. They piss me off sometimes, the Cardinals, but I might just give them the loss just because of that. But, oh gosh, this sounds horrible, but the Rams are going to start 0-2. I'm going to pick the Cardinals. This sounds bad, but yeah, I think it'll be close. I'm going to go with the Cardinals winning it 27-23. But yeah, the Rams fall to 0-2 with a couple injuries, and their defense can't keep up with a surprisingly good Cardinals offense. All right, before we get to the Chiefs game, let's do Steelers-Broncos, because who gives a shit? I'm going to go quick on this one. We don't have a lot of time. Let's just say Steelers win the... No, the Steelers would go into Atlanta in week 1 and beat them, and then lose to Denver in Denver. Which, by the way, they're wearing their home uniforms in Denver. Super weird. Hello, Reggie. I don't know if the camera can see this, but Al's dog is right here, and he's super cute. Anyways, yeah, I just think the Broncos, this is such a funny game that they would win and beat the Steelers. Because the Steelers, remember, they have to stay level. They have to be 8-8 going into week 18. It's just how they work. So yeah, I'll pick the Broncos to beat the Steelers 17-16. And then probably the biggest game of the week, of course, Chiefs hosting the Bengals. We've been through this rivalry so many times. I mean, where do I even start with this game? Other than the actual injuries, wide receiver injuries on both sides, or both teams. The Chiefs just put Hollywood Brown. He had shoulder injury, so he just put him on, or he had shoulder surgery, excuse me. They just put him on IR, so he's going to be gone at least another 4 weeks, which kind of sucks. But, good thing Xavier Worthy stepped up last week, because that gives me a little more confidence. Kelsey he didn't even have to be involved last week. So if they can get him more involved, I'm not that worried. But yeah, it still kind of sucks not to see him. I kind of wanted to see him a little bit earlier. How good he is, but we're going to have to wait. It's smart to get the surgery. And then for the Bengals side, we have T. Higgins. He's most likely missing as well, just like he did in week 1. So that's a big struggle. Once again, the Bengals, they host the Commanders next week on Monday Night Football. That reminds me exactly of how they hosted the Rams in week 3 of Monday Night Football. And after they started 0-2, and then they're going to bounce back, beat them, and then beat the Panthers. So I think this is the perfect week for people to really start panicking on the Bengals. I'm personally not panicking on the Bengals. I'm really not. But I do think they're going to lose this game. The Chiefs right now, they're just healthier. They're more confident. Although, are they more confident? Because have you seen the Bengals in their pressers? I don't understand this. I like the Bengals because of my dad, but it's so hard for me to root for any of their players. I mean, Cam Taylor-Britt, of all people, he's in his 2nd year. He's fine. He came out and, he asked about guarding Xavier Worthy, and he just comes out with these stupid quotes. Yeah, he's fast, but all he does is run straight. He doesn't really do a lot. So even if that's true, stop giving the Chiefs bulletin board material every single time we're about to play you. It doesn't end well. Yeah, maybe in the regular season you beat us, but I don't know. The Bengals act like they've won a Super Bowl. They haven't done anything. They've made 1 Super Bowl, and they blew it. Like, they act like they're the best team in the world. They're so cocky, especially Jamar Chase. It makes no sense. Stop giving teams Baltimore material. You lost to the Patriots last week at home. So stop. I'm trying to help you as a Chiefs fan. It's just not going to work, though. We're going to be pissed off. Patrick Mahomes is going to want this. He's going to finally want to beat Burrow, in the regular season when they're both healthy. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and pick the Chiefs. Now it's the Chiefs against the Bengals, so it's always a close game, so I'll make it that like it usually is. I'll go ahead and pick the Chiefs to win it 28-20. 8-point game. Not too close, but 28-20. All right, and then finally we got two more primetime games left. We got Bears-Texans Sunday Night Football in Houston. And I'm sorry, Bears fans, but, not to rain on your parade, even if Caleb Williams ended up looking better last week, I just don't think your defense is going to do what they did last week against the Titans. You're playing a much better, much more well-coached, better quarterback team in the Texans, in their stadium. I just don't think the luck is going to be on your side this time, just like against the Titans. So, I do think Caleb Williams might play slightly better, although I can definitely see him getting his first turnover of his career. But yeah, I'm going to pick the Texans to win this game by multiple scores. I'm going to go 34-20. So sorry, Bears fans. Good thing you got the first win in week 1. But yeah, it's just not going to be your game. The Texans are the better team. So I'm picking the Texans. All right. Finally, Monday Night Football. Eagles-Falcons. The Eagles finally coming back from Brazil. The Falcons coming back from sucking against the Steelers, I guess. Is that the way to put it? The narratives, of course, Kirk Cousins in prime time, especially Monday Night Football, he's terrible. Mix that with him already looking worse than he was on the Vikings. I mean, I'm scared. I'm not going to lie. I'm scared for the Falcons right now. Kirk Cousins cannot plant off his back foot right now. And that's crucial. I mean, his Achilles is still bothering him. Whether he tells you or not, you can see it. They were in the pistol every snap last game. The whole reason why Kirk Cousins is even considered that good is because of the play action. He can't even do that anymore. So, I'm not going to put up the red alert yet for the Falcons, but they're staring down the barrel of 0-2, probably 0-3 because they play the Chiefs next week. So it's tough. It's going to be a tough environment for them. Now, the Eagles' defense is bad enough where I think that the Falcons will look slightly better on offense. But yeah, luckily enough for Eagles fans, I think they're going to start the season 2-0. I'm still not super confident in the Eagles. I think their defense sucks, and their offense is a little bit shaky. Their play calling's weird. We'll see if Jalen Hurts can finally stop turning it over. Jason Kelsey's certainly missed with the tush push. I don't think Saquon's going to have a 3-touchdown game again. But look, you're playing the Falcons. I still think the Eagles are the better team. They're at home. I'm going to pick them to win. Let's say 31-19. Kind of a weird score, but yeah, that's how I think the game's going to go. And there you have it. Week 2, right down the line. We already had our Thursday night game. We got a full slate ahead of us on Sunday and then the Monday night game. I'm so excited. We're really into the season now. We got a week behind us. We got 17 more weeks of Scott Hansen. We're living the life right now. But yeah, that's it. Thank you guys for watching and listening to this episode of First and Gold. We're getting into it this season. Please follow us at First and Gold Pod on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Please like and subscribe. Keep commenting. We love interacting with you guys. Yeah, thank you for watching. We'll see you next week for the recap of Week 2. Goodbye.